Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Travel Tech Talk. If this is your first time here, then welcome to the channel. This channel is dedicated to reviewing cameras, gimbals, audio equipment and various other accessories to help you elevate your travel videos to the next level. If you're back here a second time, then welcome back. In this video, we're going to be reviewing what I consider to be an absolute awesome rig made up of the Canon M50, the Sigma 16mm DCDN lens, a variable ND filter, all mounted on a Zhiyun Crane M2 gimbal, and also paired up with the Rode Wireless Go to elevate your audio. And the combination of all of these items into what I believe to be the best possible vlogging and travel video rig for 2021. So yes, in this video we're ultimately going to start by taking a look at the gimbal itself. Now this is the Zhiyun Crane M2, came out a couple of years ago, and it's an absolutely excellent piece of equipment, and it's designed to be able to look after lightweight mirrorless cameras such as the Canon M50, point and shoot cameras and GoPros. And we won't go through all the details of that today, but ultimately what we're going to be doing is we're going to be comparing that with the Canon M50, and on that Canon M50 we're going to mount the fantastic Sigma 16mm DCDN lens, and also we're going to place a variable ND filter on the front of the lens and get all of that balanced, and also utilize the Rode Wireless Go wireless audio system so we can be able to build a rig that will really elevate your travel and vlog videos to the next level. Okay, so the first thing that we're actually going to do is we're going to unbox this Sigma 16mm lens, and it's always something I always look forward to when we get a new lens, but lots of paperwork in there that we don't really need. We'll take a look at that later. And inside the box is the lens itself in its own little protective wrapper. It comes with a lens hood, which is really good. I'm really pleased that Sigma have given us that with the lens itself. There are lots of manufacturers, including Canon, that actually don't give you a lens hood to go with that lens, and you have to buy it separately, which is somewhat frustrating. But an excellent piece of lens cover there, really ultimately to stop too much glare and flare when you're outside. But more importantly is this fantastic lens from Sigma. It's a EFM mount designed specifically for EFM based mirrorless cameras from Canon, and Canon didn't have too many lenses available for its M mount range, and Sigma over the last year or so have come out with not only a 16mm DCDM but also a 30mm version at 1.4 and also a 56mm version at 1.4, a really impressive trio. And this lens itself is a really nice lens. It's a bit heavier obviously than the kit lens, but nevertheless a 1.4 aperture is absolutely outstanding in terms of being able to provide that shallow depth of field and that buttery background that you're looking for at f1.4. Of course, you can close down the f-stops if you like and have more detail in your background, of course. But also, you know, it's a fantastic piece of kit, well engineered, well made, feels solid, a really nice piece of equipment. So what we're going to do today is we're going to pop this on the M50, and then we'll take it on this next step. Okay, so off comes the kit lens. Off comes the kit lens. Very easy to remove, and of course, as you know, it's an APS-C sensor on the Canon M50. So we'll pop on the Sigma 16mm lens, and again it's a straightforward line up the dots and pop that into the camera itself. So there you go. And what that actually does is it actually provides a little bit more weight there. It's about 400 grams, which is the Sigma, but it's a absolutely fantastic camera. And actually it's the camera that I would usually be using to actually film my videos. But today this is being filmed on a Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus with Filmic Pro. And so hopefully if you see, you won't see too much difference in terms of the quality of the film, but just be aware that that's what we're filming on today. So there we are, the Canon M50 with the Sigma lens. It's an absolutely fantastic piece of kit. And as you can see there, it look a little bit more impressive because the M50 is quite a small camera. But this certainly gives it a lot more presence, a lot more weight, a lot more to grab hold of. It's if you're in manual focus, it's got a fantastic buttery smooth focus ring. But for most of the videos that I'll actually be taking on this, I'll actually be using it in autofocus. As you know, the Canon M50 has fantastic dual pixel autofocus in 1080p, and all of the resolutions lower than that. Of course, at 4K, the Canon M50 suffers a little bit because it defaults back to a contrast detection system. Nevertheless, this is a massively fast prime lens. It's just recently purchased by me. There's been lots of reviews on YouTube relative to the lens and all the benefits of it, so I won't go through that now, but ultimately it's a fantastic prime lens with a 16mm aperture. Ultimately that will mean that you'll be able to vlog outside even with the APS-C crop of 1.6. That still provides for a 24mm aperture, so still easily within vlogging, face to camera sort of stuff, if you've got that on a gimbal. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at this Sigma lens, and we're going to put the ND filter over the top of it. Of course, the Sigma lens is a 1.4 aperture, which means it is going to let lots and lots of light in, particularly during the daytime and outside. So we need to be able to try and keep that shutter speed down as low as we can go. And in order to be able to do that, we can fit that now with a variable ND filter. This is a KNF concept filter. Again, we'll leave the link in the bottom of the video description. It's an ND 2 to 400 variable ND filter, and I've already taken it out of its box, and it comes in this nice little plastic container. Inside the container is the lens itself, and it's got a very nice piece of foam in there also to keep it fairly rigid when you've got the filter stacked in the box itself. So we'll pop that to the side, and inside the bag that it comes with is the ND filter itself. And so here we are, here's the ND filter, and I'll pop that up to the camera. And it's a lovely little filter. It's well made. It's a nice piece of glass. It's obviously aluminium, and it's obviously got a nice ring on there, so you can adjust the strength of the ND filter itself. And currently it's on minimum, so if we take a look at that, hopefully you'll be able to see that as we turn that around. The ND filter darkens fairly significantly, fairly quickly. So it's a 9-stop variable ND filter, and it's a nice blue glass on both sides. Now this, I think, is the latest one from KNF Concept. There are some others and they are green, but this lightweight aluminium filter is blue glass. So all we essentially need to do now is we just need to screw the filter on. It's a 67mm screw thread on the front of the Sigma lens, and there we have it. So we now have the variable ND filter on the front of the lens, and of course it's very easy to then adjust, and it's not too loose. Some ND filters have had the problem where it's really loose, and you knock the front of the filter ring from time to time, and you don't get the same sort of effect as perhaps you'd hope for. So this one is a little bit tighter, perhaps because it's newer. I'm sure it will loosen up just a tad. But there we are. So Canon M50 with the Sigma 16mm lens and the K&F concept variable ND filter on the front. And so the next step in the build of this rig is to take a look at the audio, and as I've shared earlier, we've got the Rode Wireless Go microphone system, a really super unobtrusive, very small footprint. It comes with a microphone and also a receiver. You put the microphone on your belt or on your collar, and the receiver can go anywhere. It also comes with a very nice hot shoe mount clip on the back, so you can clip that to your belt. But also, and a real benefit of this particular setup from Rode now is that actually you can connect that to the hot shoe mount on your camera. So there we are. There's the Rode receiver that's actually on the camera. Again, it's very unobtrusive, and because the Rode equipment is quite small, it's got quite a small footprint, it doesn't get in the way. It doesn't get in the way of the electronic viewfinder. And of course the M50 has that fully articulating screen, which is a lovely piece of kit, an absolute favourite of mine and of a lot of M50 users around the place. So actually on the reverse of the camera, of course, you can make all your adjustments on the 3.5-inch touchscreen on the back, and it's fully articulating, so you can move it out, and of course it doesn't get in the way. And on some cameras they have fold up screens, and of course putting anything on the top of the hot shoe mount ultimately means that screen gets blocked, but on the M50 it doesn't, so that's a great benefit. And then of course we then ultimately need to be able to connect that to the camera itself. So the next stage is a TRS to TRS cable. It's a cable that is supplied by Rode with the Wireless Go kit, and you can also purchase a separate cable if you like from Rode and on Amazon. Again, we'll leave the link at the bottom of the screen. The other type of cable that you can also get, we won't be using it today, is the TRS to TRRS, so black to grey, and the grey connector has got tip ring sleeve, and that connects into smartphones. So smartphone to the microphone receiver. We won't be using it today because the Canon M50 calls for a TRS connection. So today we're going to be using the TRS to TRS connection, and it's as simple as plugging one connector into the side of the Rode receiver, and on the side of the Canon M50 you of course have your audio in, so you just need to plug that in, and there we have it. We've got now our Rode receiver on the top, we've got our M50, and we've got it connected, so we're going to get excellent audio from this wonderful Rode Wireless Go system. So the next part of the system now then, of course, we've now got our camera and our audio and our lens and our variable ND filter in place. Well, now what we need to consider is, well, how now are we going to mount this on the Zhiyun Crane M2? Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Crane M2 is designed for lightweight mirrorless cameras. Now, the combination of the M50 and the Rode receiver and the Sigma 16mm lens and the ND filter is taking it to the maximum that the Crane M2 can actually handle. According to the specs from Zhiyun, it can handle 720 grams. This is actually closer to 800 grams. So, but it will balance, and I've had it balanced already. And we're not going to go through and spend too much time actually balancing it today, because that's just going to waste too much time and make this video far too long. So what we're going to do is I'm going to connect the base plate and the screw thread onto the bottom of the camera, and then we'll very quickly pop this onto the Crane M2 just to show you A, that it will balance, and B, that when the camera's running and the wireless go is running and the gimbal is running, that it's capable of handling a rig such as this. Okay, so here we are now. So we've got our Canon M50. The Crane M2 comes with a mounting plate like this. It's got 2 slots in it. There's one which is the longer slot, which is for point and shoot cameras and mirrorless cameras, and the smaller slot, I don't know if you can see that on there, there's a small slot and a large slot. Smaller slot is for GoPros and the like. So what we need to do is we need to place this on the bottom of the Canon M50. So we're going to be using the large slot, and we'll place that on the base, so like that, and then it comes with a thumb nut that you use to put into the 1/4 screw thread, which comes on the bottom of the camera. Okay, so there we are. That's the plate in place on the bottom of the M50 camera. Okay, and so now what we'll do is we will attempt to get this mounted, and here's our Crane M2 now. And of course, as you know, it has it's a 3-axis gimbal, and the plate actually slips into a little shoe on the gimbal itself. So it's relatively straightforward in terms of sliding that plate into the hot shoe itself, and there is a screw thread on the bottom which you use to tighten it up. Okay, so there we have it. Make sure you push it all the way in on that axis, and then tighten up the plate, such as that. So there we are. So first of all, of course, the gimbal isn't actually on, and I don't intend to turn it on just yet. And as you can see, with all of this kit and equipment on the bottom, on the top here now, it's nowhere near balanced. It's obviously very front heavy. So some of the things that we can actually do to adjust that is on the side of the on the side of the gimbal, there is a turn screw there. We can undo that, and we can pull the base slider all the way to the back. So that's that done, and that's all the way to the back now. And then of course it's still front heavy, so what we now need to do is we now need to undo the thumb screw on the bottom and then pull the camera towards the back. So let's do that now. So you undo it and essentially slide the camera all the way along to the back of that slot on the plate. So, and it can be quite finicky, and so even now it's still a bit top heavy, it's still front heavy. Okay, so what we can now do is we can take a look to see, well, okay, how much do we need to adjust it? And it seems that we need to adjust it a little bit more to bring the camera even further back along the plate, and that's a bit too far. So it goes quite a way back. Again, it's still, look, as you can see, it's attempting to fall forward. Now of course, because this is quite a long lens, it will balance. We're nearly there. I think there's a little bit more play to go, where we can pull this camera back, and if we push it too far, then of course it goes the other way. So again, it's just a case of trial and error, just fine adjustments, putting it forward a couple of millimeters, putting it back a couple of millimeters until you get it just about right. So we're almost there, we've nearly got it, but it's still as you can see, it's still tending to fall towards this side. So on the back there is a red connector on this rear axis that we can undo and just move that over very slightly. So I'll do that now and just push that over a little bit, and we're almost there. The camera now doesn't want to go from left to right, but there's still, and as you'll see, as it pushes forward, the weight will pull it forward, and if we push it too far back, the camera will fall back. So that's almost there. It's almost there. It's very tricky. Again, we're wasting a lot of time trying to just finesse this a little bit, but we'll persevere. So that's that tight, and there we have it. So we've now got our Zhiyun our Crane M2 balanced. We've got the road on there, and as you can see there, the camera isn't wanting to go one way or another or from side to side, which is great. And so we're now at the stage where we can turn this gimbal on, and of course there is a power supply around on the side, so all I need to do is just lift that power supply up and the gimbal should pipe into life. There we are, there we have it. So the gimbal is now balanced, the gimbal is on, it's in pan follow mode, as you'll be able to see on there on the display. Always also remember that it comes on a really nice little tripod. It's a little small foot tripod, which of course assists with the balancing, but of course this also comes off. So this tripod will come off, and actually you are left with a very small, very compact little arrangement that you can use for all of your travel and vlogging videos. I'll put that back on very briefly, and of course you can also use the handle as further support for your arm. Now it's not massively heavy, but of course it's got a bit more weight on it now because it's got the Sigma 16mm lens on it. But here you go, that's pan follow, and that is lock mode, so it doesn't matter what I do, I can move it up and down, the camera's not going to move away from where it's pointed. I can put it on point of view mode, where the camera will not only go up and side to side, but it will also go up and down as well, so wherever you point it, it will go to. And you can put it back into pan follow mode, and then of course it will just go where you want it to horizontally. So there we have it. We have our Rode Wireless Go on our Canon M50 with our Sigma 16mm lens with the K&F Concept variable ND filter. We've got our Rode Wireless Go audio. None of it switched on, of course. I really just wanted to show you the gimbal and how it all sets up. And of course, it's a lovely rig. It's a fantastic piece of kit. It's a great combination of stabilized footage through the Zhiyun Crane M2. It's got onboard stabilization on your M50 should you need to have it, but of course you've got a gimbal, so you don't really need that, but always useful if you're doing vlogging. We've got the Sigma 16mm f1.4. We've got the K&F Concept variable ND filter, ND 2 to 400, and we've got the Rode wireless Go. I hope you agree with me that it's a fantastic piece of kit, easily portable, and if you want to do some face vlogging, all you need to do is a trigger on the front here of this gimbal, and I'll do a much more in-depth overview of the gimbal and the functionality with the camera on in another video on this channel, so stay tuned for that. But if you tap this 3 times, you can go into vlog mode, and here you have it, vlog mode, and the lens will follow you. You can put the flip screen out so you know you've actually got yourself well framed in the screen, and once you've done that, once you've finished that, if you want to go back, then just triple tap the button again, and it will come back to front on video. So I hope you agree with me what an absolute fantastic piece of equipment it is. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then please like and subscribe to our channel. This is Travel Tech Talk, and it's a brand new channel. We've only got 4 videos up on at the moment, but more will come as we move forward. If you like this sort of content, then please give us a like. Do please let us have any comments that you'd like to in the bottom in the comment section below this video. We'll be happy to respond to them. And if you're getting some value from this, please do like and subscribe to our channel. It's through your subscription that this channel can grow. So in the meantime, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye.